मोटो G22 11,000 का फोन है, लेकिन इट लुक्स फार मोर एक्सपेंसिव। जी अगर आप डिजाइन के पास देखोगे, उतना ही नहीं, 90 हर्ट्ज की स्क्रीन आती है, 20 वॉट चार्जिंग आता है, एंड यस, Android 12 आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स। वेरी फ्यू फोन्स कैन से दैट।
Hello, Moto.
Recently in the free software series, I showed you OBS Studio, which is a free and open source screen recorder for Windows, Mac, and Linux. In the comments of that video, many of you asked for me to do a tutorial. In this beginner's guide, I will show you how to set up and use OBS Studio. Coming up next on Tech Gumbo. To get OBS Studio onto your computer, go to their website, which is obsproject.com. There'll be a link in the description of this video. You'll see on this page that you have options for Windows 7 Plus, macOS 10.10 Plus, and Linux. The Windows and Mac downloads are standard installer packages. If you select the Linux link, it will open up a new page with the install directions. Once you have OBS installed, open up the program. Since this is a beginner's guide, I'll go at a slower pace and keep this simple to get you started with using OBS Studio. This is now my preferred screen capture program, so I'll also go over the settings that I use to record my screen. Now that you have OBS opened, if this is your first time using this software, the screen capture area within this window should be black. First, you will need to set up a source, so go down to the sources box. Select the plus sign. You will have several choices. I'll go over the two that are used most often. If you plan to record your screen with the files saved to your computer so you can edit them later on, select Display Capture. I already have a Display Capture set up, so this one is automatically named Display Capture 2. You can rename it if you want. Make sure that Make Source Visible is checked. Then select OK. Click on the display button to select the monitor you would like to record. If you have a single monitor, you should only have one option here. If you run a multiple monitor setup, select your monitor. If you want your mouse cursor to be captured when OBS records, make sure that Capture Cursor is checked. When done, select OK. Let's go back to the Sources box and select the plus sign again. If you plan to record the video games that you play, select Game Capture. Just like before, you can change the name and make sure Make Source Visible is checked. Select OK. You can just leave everything here on the defaults and select OK again. If you want to change the source settings, select the source, then select the settings icon. Here you can change the display.
If you plan to record the video games that you play.
To delete a source, select it, then select the minus sign. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to remove Display Capture 2.
Just leave everything
Select
here on
yes.
this.
Now it's gone. The up-down arrows change the priority of the sources.
Select the source. And select
Make sure the source you currently want to use is at the top of the list.
Here you can change the display.
In addition to recording your display, OBS also records your desktop audio from games, websites, or any other software on your computer. It can also record the audio from your microphone.
Display.
So let's head over to the mixer section. For desktop audio, click the settings icon to the right of the volume bar.
Change the priority.
Select Properties from the drop-down menu.
And select sure that you currently want to
Make sure that Default is selected. Then hit OK.
use.
Just below desktop audio, there's a separate listing for microphone. Select the settings icon, then Properties. Here you can choose the microphone that you want to use. Once you have it selected, select OK. Let's take a quick look at the rest of the user interface. To the left of Sources is Scenes, which will allow you to use more than one source while recording. This is a little bit more advanced for a beginner's tutorial.
Desktop audio. Separate listing for microphones. Select the settings icon. Then choose the audio that you want to use.
new tutorial. Or audio output capture to add audio from your same laptop or any other audio driver. All these audio sources get listed with their volume meters, where you can adjust their volume as you need. Check our video description if you own a Mac and you are not able to include your system audio. Whereas to include visual sources, you have a lot of options. With Color Source, you can add a plain colored background. With Image, you can include any of your images. And with Image Slideshow, you can import a slideshow of images with transitions between these. You can also use Media Source to add any video file and text to include any piece of text, typing content, and setting font family, style, size, color, and opacity. Whereas use Browser to define any address link and show any website page on the canvas. Consider that you can't interact with it in this way. Add a window capture to show and interact with the browser or any other software running on your computer without showing the entire desktop. Just choose the correct application from the list. If you don't find it, make sure that it is not minimized and retry. Whereas if you want to show the entire desktop, add a display capture source, selecting the screen to show. If you own Windows 10 and get this source completely black, check the link in our video description. If you want to record or live stream games, the game capture source is the most recommended, since this is well optimized for applications, going in full screen mode without using a lot of resources. This can start when any application goes full screen, or you can select the game running in the background. To add any webcam source, use the video capture device instead. With OBS Studio, you can also adjust the way these sources must be shown on the canvas. You can select any source and click and drag from it to move it, or use its nodes to resize as you need. Pay attention to striped areas. These are outside the canvas and are completely cut when you record or live stream. Also, hold down the Alt key to crop any source. From the sources list, you can use the I button to hide or show any source, or the lock button to block its size and placement. You can also pull up or down any source to adjust its order of visibility in respect of others. You can also adjust properties and add effects to any source with the gear icon, and audio with the buttons above . 600 FPS. Under Hotkeys, specify the keys to make quick actions without acting with the OBS interface. In particular, the ones to start and stop streaming and recording. You can find these buttons on the extreme right as well. You can start, pause, and stop streaming or recording what's inside the OBS canvas. Also, in case OBS is running on the background. When streaming, the result is saved on the online account you have connected with OBS. Whereas if you make recordings, you can find these videos on File, Show Recordings. In addition, you can open Studio Mode to work on your canvas under Preview before making these changes permanent or visible under Program, before or during any live stream. Only when you click on Transition, the live program canvas gets updated with a smooth transition defined under Quick Transitions. Consider that all your sources and scenes remain saved every time you close and reopen OBS Studio. Thank you so much for watching this super short guide. Make sure to visit our YouTube channel and website for more free and outstanding content.
पीछे साइड में आपको 50 मेगापिक्सल वाला क्वाड कैमरा देगा, 8 मेगापिक्सल अल्ट्रा वाइड, और ये चीज अच्छी लगी कि मोटोरोला ने इसमें 16 मेगापिक्सल का सेल्फी दिया है।
Android 12 out of the box.
20 वॉट का चार्जर इस प्राइस पॉइंट पे।
Moto G22, it looks far more expensive.
Hello, Moto.
Hi everyone, Kevin here. Today I want to show you how you can both get and also use OBS. First off, what is OBS? It's an extremely powerful and also versatile screen recorder, and you could use it to stream to services like Twitch, YouTube, and also Facebook. In fact, I use it to record all of my videos on this channel. Best of all, it's entirely free and it's also open source. Alright, let's jump on the computer, and first off, let's see how we can get OBS. Here I am on my PC, and first off, I want to show you how you can get OBS. Once again, it is entirely free. To get OBS, head to the website obsproject.com. I've also included a link in the description. You can simply click on that to navigate to this website. The great thing about OBS is it works across all the major platforms, including Windows, Mac, and also Linux. To download OBS, simply click on the operating system that you're using and then run through the installation process. Once you finish downloading and installing OBS, go ahead and launch the app. That'll drop you on a screen that looks like this. For those of you who are wondering, well, how am I recording this video today? Well, of course I'm using OBS. I'm using OBS to record OBS. You can launch multiple instances of the app. It's kind of like the movie Inception. Now right now we simply have a black screen. How do we get started? By far the easiest way to get going with OBS is to go up to the top menus, click on Tools, and then let's click on the Auto Configuration Wizard. This opens up the Auto Configuration Wizard, and here we have a choice to make. You need to decide what exactly you want to use OBS for. You can use it for streaming, for screen recording, or you could use it as a virtual camera. With the streaming option, if you select this, it's going to go through and have you select the service provider. So whether you're using Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and then it'll also help you identify the best bitrate. With screen recording, well, just like the name implies, you'll be able to record your screen and then you'll have a video file on your computer that you can go and edit, or you could send it to others. Lastly, there's another option for using a virtual camera. What is a virtual camera? Well, in a moment, we're going to compose a scene using OBS. With a virtual camera, you can send that scene to different video conferencing software, whether it's Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or Google Meet, or any other services, you can use a virtual camera. For this tutorial today, I'm going to optimize for recording, but just keep in mind what you see today, you can use it for streaming and you could also use it for a virtual camera. Once you make your selection, let's click on Next. Next, we have a few more questions that we need to answer. First, we need to indicate what our base resolution is, and I would select the option that matches the resolution of your display. When you click on this drop-down list, here I see Display 1, I only have one monitor, and my resolution is 2560 by 1440. I'll select this option. Next, there's a question about the frames per second that we would like to use, and we have several different options here. We could go with 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, or we could do either one but prefer either higher frames or lower frames. In general, if you're going to be recording, say, gameplay, you probably want to go with a higher frame rate. That makes it look a little bit smoother. If you're going to be recording things like your desktop or an application, you probably want to go with 30 frames per second and you'll have a little bit better resolution. So I'm going to select 30 frames per second now, but feel free to choose the value that matches what you're planning on recording. Once we make all of our selections, let's now click on Next. On the next screen, we'll see the final results of the Auto Configuration Wizard, and this shows us the various settings that it's going to put in place for our recording. And all of this looks good, so next, let's click on Apply Settings. If you want to go back and make any modifications to the settings, you can always click on Tools again and you could run through the Auto Configuration Wizard. Once again, this is by far the easiest way to get started. Alternatively, if you want to tweak the various settings, you can click on the File menu, click on Settings. Within Settings, click on Output, and then you can customize your streaming and your recording settings. If you want full control, you could also click on Output Mode, and then click on Advanced, and you have full control over the settings of your streaming and your recording. Once again, using the Auto Configuration Wizard is by far the easiest way to get going. Now that we've gone through the Auto Configuration Wizard and all of our settings are in place, next we need to tell OBS what we want to record or what we want to stream. And to do that, we're going to use this real estate right here. This black rectangle area, this is referred to as the scene, and we are going to add different sources to the scene. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that this scene is called Scene, and we'll leave this name for now. However, you can also add additional scenes, you can also remove scenes, and later on we'll do that. Especially once you start getting multiple scenes, it's a good idea to rename them. First though, I want to simply get started using OBS, so let's now focus on sources, and let's start adding a few simple sources. You might be wondering, what is a source? Well, let's click on the plus icon to see what types of items we can add to our scene. Here we see a list of all the different types of sources that we can add. Now, two of the ones that you'll probably most likely want to use, one of them is called display capture. What this means is, well, this is basically capturing your display or your desktop. If you're going to be playing a game, you'll likely want to click on game capture instead. This is optimized for gaming. For now though, let's click on display capture to simply capture our desktop. This opens up a prompt where we can give it a name. I'll simply leave it set to display capture. Once again, if you start adding many different sources, it helps to give it a unique name so you could identify it later on. Let's now click on OK. This opens up properties, and here I can now